Subscribe to my YouTube channel, share it with your friends, and comment your thoughts. The salesman didn't even look up. "Ma'am, this section is for serious buyers only." Maya froze. Her fingers tightened around the frayed strap of her old handbag. She looked down at her shoes, dusty from walking across town. The scent of polished leather, cologne, and money filled the air. Around her, everything gleamed: glass walls, shiny tiles, and brand-new luxury cars. A couple standing nearby chuckled. The woman leaned toward her partner and whispered something. The man smirked. Maya heard it all, even if she pretended she didn't. She opened her mouth to speak, but the salesman finally looked up. His eyes swept over her worn jeans and plain shirt. His lips curled into a practiced smile, but it was cold. "You really can't afford anything here," he said flatly, his voice loud enough to draw attention from across the room. Silence settled over the glass showroom. Conversations paused. One of the office doors creaked open as another staff member peeked out. The couple laughed again, louder this time. Maya's face flushed. Her heart pounded in her chest like a hammer. She felt her throat tighten, her eyes sting. But she wouldn't cry here. Not in front of them. Not now. She turned around without a word and walked out. Every step felt heavier than the last. As soon as she reached the glass door, she pulled it open with shaking hands and stepped out into the sunlight. Outside, the city was loud and uncaring. Cars rushed past, honking. A street musician played a slow song on the violin. Maya stood still on the sidewalk, feeling the wind brush her hair back, but it did little to cool the fire burning inside her chest. She looked back once at the dealership. Inside, the salesman had already turned away, laughing with another customer. He didn't care who she was. He never even asked her name. But he would remember her face. Soon. Maya walked home. It was nearly an hour on foot, but she didn't have much choice. Her phone was old and cracked, and the screen didn't light up anymore. She couldn't call a cab even if she wanted to. The last time she tried to fix it, the repairman told her to just buy a new one. She laughed then, because even a new phone was too expensive right now. She passed stores, cafes, and bakeries. The smell of fresh bread made her stomach growl. She hadn't eaten since morning, and that was just a slice of toast. But food wasn't her priority today. Today, she wanted to surprise someone. It was her husband's birthday. Well, her ex-husband, technically. But the papers hadn't gone through yet. They were separated, not divorced. He didn't know she still thought of him every single day. He didn't know she still remembered what he said the night he left. "You'll never survive without me." Maya reached the small one-bedroom apartment she rented above a grocery store. She climbed the narrow stairs, her legs aching. Once inside, she kicked off her shoes and sank onto the couch. Her fingers brushed over an old envelope tucked between the couch cushions. She pulled it out and opened it. Inside was a folded photo. Her wedding day. They looked so young. So happy. He was wearing that gray suit she picked out. She remembered how nervous he was. She remembered how tightly he held her hand. And now, silence. He hadn't called in weeks. She placed the photo back in the envelope and slid it into a drawer. Then she walked to the tiny kitchen and made herself a cup of tea. As she stirred the sugar in, she whispered, "They think they know me. But they don't." The next morning, the dealership was quiet. The staff were just opening up, wiping down the windows, arranging brochures, checking their ties in the reflections of the glass. The same salesman from yesterday leaned against a desk, sipping his coffee. He was laughing about something he read on his phone. Then a sound cut through the air. A deep, low hum. Powerful. Smooth. It grew louder, heads turned. A Rolls-Royce Phantom pulled up to the entrance. Not just any Phantom. A custom-made, matte black beauty with gold trim. The kind of car that didn't belong in this part of town. The kind that made people stop breathing for a second. It came to a smooth stop in front of the dealership. The driver stepped out in a crisp black suit and opened the back door. Out stepped Maya. The same jeans. The same simple shirt. But her posture was different now. She stood tall. Calm. Unbothered. And silent. She walked into the dealership, her eyes scanning the room. The same salesman froze mid-laugh, his coffee halfway to his lips. His eyes widened. Before he could say a word, the driver walked in behind her and handed him a white envelope. The salesman looked down at it. Embossed on the front was a logo he recognized instantly, the mark of a global luxury investment firm. Inside was a note, Maya Thorne. Authorized to purchase. No limitations. He looked back up, stunned. Maya was standing in front of the most expensive model in the showroom. She turned to him, smiled faintly, and said, "I'll take this one." The news spread through the dealership like wildfire. Staff whispered behind desks. The manager rushed out from his office, his tie askew. The salesman stumbled over his words, trying to apologize, to explain, to pretend he hadn't been rude the day before. Maya ignored him. She walked around the car slowly, running her hand along the smooth curves. The keys were handed to her within minutes. Papers signed. No questions asked. As she stepped back into the Rolls, now the official owner of a car that cost more than most homes, she didn't even look back. But the driver did. He handed the salesman another card. "Next time, speak respectfully. You never know who you're talking to." Back in the car, the driver turned to Maya. "Would you like to go home now, ma'am?" She smiled. "No. Drive me to the lake." The lake was where she used to go with her husband. It was peaceful. Her favorite thinking spot. She stared out the window as the city flew past. Her heart felt heavy but strong. She had done something she never thought possible. This wasn't about the car. It was about proving to herself that she could stand again. That she didn't need permission. That her worth didn't come from what she wore, or what she looked like, or what others assumed. At the lake, Maya sat on a bench and watched the ripples dance on the surface of the water. She thought about her past, the struggles, the heartbreak, the nights she cried alone. The nights she thought she couldn't go on. But she had. She kept going. Now, she was the one people whispered about. Now, she was the one who made jaws drop. Not because of the car. But because she didn't give up. And deep inside, she knew this was just the beginning. The wind blew gently across the lake, brushing strands of Maya's hair across her face. She closed her eyes and let the sound of the water calm her thoughts. Then her phone vibrated. She blinked, slowly reaching into her pocket. She had nearly forgotten about the old device. The cracked screen lit up, struggling to show a single notification. One new message, unknown number. She tapped it. "We need to talk. It's about your husband." Her heart skipped a beat. She stared at the screen, unmoving. The words echoed in her mind. It had been months since she'd heard his name in anyone's mouth but her own. Months since he walked out of their apartment and disappeared. No goodbye. No explanation. Just silence. And now, this. She quickly typed a reply. "Who is this?" 3 dots appeared. Typing, then stopped. Then again, typing. "Meet me at the old bookstore on Hollow Street. 4 p.m. Come alone." Maya's fingers hovered over the keyboard. Her instincts screamed at her. It sounded like something from a movie. Mysterious texts. Anonymous meetings. A message about her ex-husband, who, for all she knew, was living his best life somewhere far away, no longer thinking of her. And yet, something pulled her in. She stood up from the bench and whispered to herself, "I need answers." Back at her apartment, Maya quickly changed into clean clothes. Simple, but neat. She tucked her hair behind her ears and checked herself in the mirror. Her reflection looked stronger today, more awake than it had in months. She grabbed her bag and left. The Rolls-Royce was still waiting downstairs, the driver standing patiently by the car. She approached him. "I need to go somewhere private," she said. "Can you take me to Hollow Street?" The driver nodded without question and opened the door. The bookstore was old, with faded signs and dusty windows. The kind of place people walked past without noticing. Maya stepped inside, the small bell above the door jingling as she entered. It smelled of old paper, wood, and something faintly sweet, like cinnamon and forgotten memories. A woman behind the counter looked up. Elderly, with kind eyes and silver hair twisted into a bun. "You're Maya?" she asked softly. Maya's breath caught. "Yes. She's waiting for you. Back room." The woman pointed toward a door near the back, half hidden by shelves of worn-out novels. Maya's heart pounded as she moved closer. She pushed the door open slowly and stepped into a small room with dim lighting and a single table. A young woman sat there, no more than 30, with dark circles under her eyes and fingers tapping nervously on the table. "You came," she said, her voice shaky. "Who are you?" Maya asked. "I'm someone who knew your husband," the woman said. "My name is Claire." Maya sat down across from her. The room fell silent for a moment. "You said you had something to tell me." Claire nodded. "It's about Aaron." Maya's stomach twisted at the name. "I worked with him." "For 3 years," Claire said, looking down. "Not in a regular job. Not something I can explain in one sentence. But, he was involved in something." "What do you mean?" Claire hesitated, then slid a photo across the table. In it, Aaron was standing next to 2 men Maya didn't recognize. They were outside what looked like a warehouse. He looked different, thinner, tired, and nervous. "What is this?" Maya asked. "Those men," Claire whispered, "aren't just business partners. They're dangerous. I don't know exactly what your husband got into, but I know he was working with people who move illegal goods, jewels, forged art, sometimes worse." Maya stared at the photo, her mind spinning. "No. That can't be true. He worked in finance." "He wouldn't." Claire cut her off. "He left finance years ago." "He didn't tell you?" Maya shook her head slowly. "He said he was traveling. That the company was opening offices abroad. He used to call from strange numbers, said it was international roaming." Claire leaned in. "He was hiding something. And now he's missing." The room seemed to tilt. Maya felt dizzy. "What do you mean missing?" she asked. "Vanished. 2 weeks ago. No contact. The people he worked for think he ran off with something valuable. And if they believe you know where he is," Claire paused. "You could be in danger too." Maya's skin went cold. "I don't know anything," she said firmly. "I believe you," Claire replied. "That's why I wanted to warn you. But there's more." She reached into her bag and pulled out another item, Aaron's old wristwatch. The same one Maya had gifted him years ago. "He left this at my apartment the night before he disappeared. With a note inside." Claire opened the back of the watch, revealing a tiny hidden compartment. Inside was a folded piece of paper. Maya unfolded it carefully. Just one line written in Aaron's handwriting. "If anything happens to me, tell Maya to look at the lake." Her heart dropped. The lake. The same lake where she had been just hours ago. She looked up. Claire's eyes were wide. What does it mean? I don't know, Maya whispered. But I'm going back. The driver didn't ask questions. He simply nodded when Maya gave him the location. On the way there, her mind raced. Her ex-husband was involved with criminals. He was missing. He left a message for her hidden in a watch. And that message led her back to a place they once considered their secret escape. She reached into her bag and held the note tightly in her hand. By the time they reached the lake, the sun had begun to set. She got out alone. The area was empty, peaceful. Just the sound of water lapping at the shore. She walked to the bench she had sat on earlier and stood still. Nothing. Then, she remembered something. Years ago, Aaron had told her about a tree nearby. A hollow tree, one he used to hide small things in as a kid. He had shown it to her once. They had carved their initials in it. She turned and started walking toward the woods. It didn't take long to find it. The bark was worn, but the carving was still there, M+A. Maya placed her fingers along the trunk, searching. Then she found it, a hollow, covered in dirt and leaves. She reached inside and pulled something out. A small, metal box. Her hands trembled as she opened it. Inside was a flash drive, and a photograph. The photo showed Aaron again, this time alone, in what looked like a storage facility, holding something in his hand. Maya squinted. It was a black pouch. Almost velvet-like. Something important. She stared at the flash drive. Whatever was on it, it was the reason he was gone. And now it was in her hands. She returned to the car and asked the driver to take her to a tech store. Inside, she bought a cheap second-hand laptop, just enough to access the drive. No questions asked. Back in the car, she plugged in the flash drive and opened the single file it contained. Her screen filled with documents. Spreadsheets, names, dates, transaction records. Names of people she didn't know. Huge amounts of money moving through fake companies. And Aaron's name, in the middle of it all. Maya scrolled in shock. Then she saw something that made her freeze. A line of code. Hidden in the document. She copied and pasted it into a translator app. It was an address. And a date. Tomorrow. 6 p.m. Maya leaned back in her seat, overwhelmed. Someone was expecting something to happen tomorrow, something big. And now she had a piece of the puzzle they didn't know was missing. But who could she trust? Claire? The driver? The police? She didn't know. But one thing was certain. This wasn't just about Aaron anymore. She was part of it now. And whatever happened next, there was no turning back. Maya didn't sleep that night. The laptop sat on the small table in her living room, the flash drive still plugged in. The files, spreadsheets, and coded messages filled her mind like a storm that wouldn't calm. She had read every document twice. 3 times. The names meant nothing to her, but the transactions did. Millions of dollars moved through shell companies. Hidden connections between legitimate businesses and underground networks. And her ex-husband, Aaron, linked to them all. But the most terrifying part was the code. An address. A date. A time. Today. 6 p.m. Maya paced the room, her fingers brushing her lips. She knew she should go to the police, but something held her back. What if the authorities were already compromised? What if someone inside was part of it? She had already been followed once. She could feel it in her bones. The black SUV that idled a little too long near her apartment. The man in the convenience store who didn't buy anything but left when she did. Was it paranoia? Or was someone really watching her? At 5 p.m., she stood in front of the mirror. Her hands were steady, but her heart was not. She wore dark jeans, a plain hoodie, and sneakers. Something easy to move in, not too noticeable. Before leaving, she tucked the flash drive into her jacket pocket and left the laptop at home. If anything happened to her, at least the data wouldn't be lost. Downstairs, the black Rolls-Royce waited, just like before. The same silent driver opened the door for her. "Can you take me to this address?" she asked, showing him the note on her phone. He nodded. "Of course." She got in. As the car pulled away from the curb, Maya stared out the window. The streets passed by in silence. The address led them to the edge of the city, an abandoned warehouse district that hadn't seen business in years. The buildings were huge, rusted, and mostly forgotten. Vines crept up concrete walls, and broken windows stared like hollow eyes into the darkening sky. The Rolls-Royce slowed to a stop in front of a wide, chain-link fence. The gate hung crooked, open just enough for someone to slip through. "Are you sure this is it?" the driver asked, his voice low for the first time. "Yes," Maya said, but she wasn't sure of anything. "I'll wait here," he added. "Call if anything feels wrong." Maya gave a grateful nod, then stepped out. She slipped through the gate, her footsteps crunching softly on gravel. A chill ran down her spine. The silence was too deep, the shadows too still. She followed the address to a wide warehouse marked Unit 9. Its metal door was shut, but not locked. She placed her hand on the handle, and paused. From somewhere nearby, she heard a faint sound. A camera click. She turned sharply. No one. Just shadows and wind. Her heart pounded. Someone was watching her. She pushed open the door and stepped inside. The warehouse was mostly empty, dusty floor, steel beams, broken crates. But near the center, under a single hanging light, stood a table. And on it, a black velvet pouch. Maya walked closer, carefully. She glanced around. No movement. No voices. She reached the table and picked up the pouch. It was heavier than it looked. Inside was a small object, something wrapped in cloth. She unwrapped it slowly. It was a rare gemstone. Deep red. Almost glowing in the dim light. Her breath caught. She'd seen this before, in the flash drive files. There was a reference to it, Blood Diamond A7, Botswana origin, $12 million market value. Was this what Aaron had run away with? Suddenly, the warehouse door slammed shut behind her. Maya dropped the pouch, spinning around. Heavy footsteps echoed. From the shadows, two figures emerged. Both men. One tall, bald, with a scar over his left brow. The other shorter, broader, dressed in all black. Neither looked friendly. "Well," the tall one said, his voice cold. "You've been busy." Maya backed away slowly, her hands trembling. "I don't know what you're talking about," she said. The shorter man held up a phone. Her photo appeared on the screen. Then another, her meeting with Claire. Then another, her at the lake. "We've been following you," he said. "You should have left the files alone." "I didn't do anything," Maya said quickly. "I don't know where Aaron is. I haven't seen him in almost a year." "Liar," the tall man growled. "He left something with you." Maya shook her head. "He didn't." The shorter man stepped forward, pulling a small pistol from his coat. "Where's the flash drive?" he demanded. Maya's mind raced. She had two choices. Hand it over and lose everything, or stall. "It's not here," she said. "I left it somewhere safe. If anything happens to me, it goes to the press." That gave them pause. The tall man clenched his jaw. "We don't want trouble, Maya. We just want what belongs to us. Then let me go, she said firmly. And I'll make sure it gets to you. The man with the pistol smirked. Do you think you're in control? Maya held her ground. If you kill me, you'll never see that drive. You'll never find Aaron. And worse, everyone will know what you've done. A moment of silence. Then the taller man raised his hand. The shorter one hesitated, and lowered the gun. Fine, the tall man said. But you have 24 hours. If we don't hear from you, we come for you. And next time, we won't talk. He tossed her a card. No name. Just a number. Then they turned and disappeared into the shadows. Maya stood frozen for a long moment before grabbing the pouch again and rushing outside. She stumbled back to the car, breathless. The driver stood up as she approached. Everything all right? He asked. No, she said. We need to leave. Now. He didn't ask questions. The car pulled away quickly, leaving the warehouse behind. Back at her apartment, Maya locked every door and pulled every curtain shut. She placed the gemstone pouch and flash drive on the table, staring at them like they were alive. She knew now this wasn't just a missing person mystery. It was bigger. Aaron hadn't just disappeared, he was running for his life. And now, so was she. Suddenly, her phone vibrated. A new message. Unknown number. You think you're safe? You're not. Clock's ticking. Her blood ran cold. She called Claire. We need to talk. Now. 30 minutes later, they met at a small diner on the outskirts of town. Maya slid the flash drive across the table. This is what they want. Claire looked pale. I knew he was in deep, but I didn't know it was this deep. There's a diamond, Maya said. Worth millions. I found it at the warehouse today. Claire stared at her. Then Aaron didn't steal from them. He hid it from them. Why? Claire leaned in. Because maybe he was planning to blow the whole operation. Maybe he wanted to expose them. Maya nodded slowly. Then we have to finish what he started. Claire's eyes widened. You're serious? They gave me 24 hours. If I disappear, this drive goes public. Claire hesitated, then said, there's someone I know. A journalist. If anyone can help, it's him. As they made plans, Maya didn't notice the man sitting in the far booth. Watching. Listening. Typing something into his phone. Outside, a dark car waited by the curb. It was nearly midnight when Maya finally stepped into her apartment again. Her body was exhausted, but her mind was racing. The flash drive was still safe. The blood-red gemstone, worth more than her entire neighborhood, was locked inside a small kitchen cabinet, tucked behind old cereal boxes. She didn't trust banks anymore. Not after what she'd seen. She looked around the dark apartment. Every curtain was drawn, the door bolted shut. Still, she couldn't shake the feeling that someone had been here while she was gone. Something felt off. She checked the windows, closets, under the bed. Everything seemed untouched. Still, she didn't sleep. The next morning, Maya sat across from Claire again, this time at a hidden corner table in a different cafe, chosen specifically by the man Claire had contacted, Nathan Rhodes, an investigative journalist with a reputation for digging into dark places most people were afraid to look. He arrived late, walking quickly and quietly, wearing a black jacket and glasses that didn't match his eyes. He scanned the room before sitting. You're Maya, he said, not asking but stating. I've heard a lot in a short time. Claire slid the flash drive toward him. Nathan didn't touch it immediately. Do you know what you have? I think so, Maya said. Evidence of smuggling. Money laundering. Maybe even murder. Nathan nodded. That's about right. And the man you were married to, he's in deeper than you know. Do you think he's still alive? Nathan hesitated, then said, if he is, he's hiding from people who kill without thinking twice. Maya swallowed hard. Claire leaned in. Can you help us? I can do more than help, Nathan said. I can expose the entire network. But I'll need time. And I need to do this quietly. If they know I have this, he nodded to the flash drive. We're all targets. They already know, Maya said softly. They followed me. They gave me 24 hours. Nathan's face went cold. I'll make copies of this, he said. Multiple. We'll store them in different places. If something happens to me, the truth still gets out. He stood. Lay low. Don't talk to anyone else. And trust no one, not even the police. Why not the police? Maya asked. Nathan looked around, then leaned closer. Because some of the names on this drive, they're in law enforcement. Judges. Customs officers. Even journalists. Maya felt a wave of dizziness. Use a burner phone. Keep moving, he added. I'll be in touch in 48 hours. No sooner. No later. With that, he picked up the flash drive and left. That night, Maya didn't return home. Instead, she checked into a small, run-down motel 2 towns over. Cash payment. No ID. The air smelled like bleach and cigarette smoke. The bed was hard. The curtains didn't close all the way. But she felt safer here than she had in her apartment. Still, she didn't sleep. Her phone buzzed once. A blocked number. She let it ring. Then silenced it. The next morning, Maya turned on the TV in the motel lobby. A breaking news banner scrolled across the screen. Explosion in city center, no casualties reported, building destroyed. She froze. The footage showed the building where she'd last met Nathan, the cafe. Now reduced to smoldering rubble. She grabbed her phone and called Claire. No answer. She tried again. Voicemail. Maya ran out to the street and found the first payphone she could. She dialed the number on the card the men had given her. It rang once. Then a voice, "You're late." "I didn't run," Maya said quickly. "I met someone who can help. But something's wrong. The cafe's been bombed." "We know," the voice said. Maya's skin turned cold. "What do you want from me?" she asked. "You'll find out soon." Click. 3 hours later, Maya sat in the back seat of the Rolls-Royce again. It had pulled up at the motel without warning. The same silent driver opened the door. "We're taking a detour," he said. "Where?" He didn't answer. They drove for almost an hour, leaving the city behind, winding into forested hills and lonely stretches of highway. Maya watched the trees blur past, her heart pounding. Finally, they turned off onto a gravel road leading to a large, gated estate. Massive iron gates creaked open as they approached. At the center of the estate stood a glass and stone mansion that looked like it belonged to a movie villain. As they pulled up, the door opened. And Maya froze. Standing there, was Aaron. Alive. He hadn't changed much. Same sharp jawline, same intense eyes. But he looked thinner. Paler. Older. She stepped out slowly. "Aaron," she whispered. He nodded once. "Come inside." The interior was cold and modern. Marble floors, black leather furniture, tall windows with steel frames. But no warmth. No photos. No signs of life. Just security cameras. Everywhere. Aaron poured her a glass of water. "You shouldn't have come looking for me," he said quietly. I didn't, she replied. They found me. He sighed. Then it's already started. What is this, Aaron? What have you done? I tried to leave it behind, he said. The money. The people. The business. But once you're in, you don't get out. Why now? Why show up now? He looked down. Because they think I'm dead. And if they find out I'm not, they'll kill both of us. Maya sat down, overwhelmed. They bombed the cafe, she said. The journalist, Nathan, he has the drive. Aaron's face turned white. He's dead, Aaron said. They don't miss. Then we have nothing, she whispered. No, Aaron said. We have one thing left. He walked over to a wall panel and pressed his thumb against it. A hidden safe slid open. Inside was a second flash drive. Backups, he said. With everything. Names, dates, accounts, offshore files. I never trusted anyone, not even Nathan. Maya stared at the drive. We have to go public, she said. Aaron looked at her. If we do, we'll never have peace again. Then maybe peace is overrated, she said softly. They threatened to kill me, Aaron. I know, he said. That's why I have a plan. That night, Aaron led her to a hidden room beneath the estate. There were weapons. Money. Passports. Untraceable phones. We're going to disappear, he said. New names. New lives. No, Maya said firmly. We're going to finish this. He stared at her. Why? After everything they did to you? Because I don't want to run, she said. Not for the rest of my life. He was quiet for a long time. Then finally, he handed her the flash drive. If we do this, we burn every bridge. I'm ready. Suddenly, the security alarms blared. Aaron snapped his head toward the cameras. Outside, 3 black SUVs pulling up fast. They found us, he said. Maya grabbed the drive and followed him through a back exit. Gunshots echoed outside as they sprinted through a side path into the forest. Branches slapped her face. Her lungs burned. They didn't stop running. After nearly an hour, they reached a small road. An old truck sat parked by the edge. Aaron smashed the window and hotwired it. They drove in silence, covered in dirt and sweat. Maya clutched the flash drive like it was her last heartbeat. Finally, Aaron spoke. There's only one place left to go. Where? He looked at her. Someone I never thought I'd trust again, my brother. The old truck rumbled down the highway, coughing smoke and dragging a dull roar behind it. Maya sat quietly in the passenger seat, gripping the flash drive in her coat pocket like her life depended on it, because it did. Aaron hadn't said much since they fled the estate. He stared ahead with the same intense eyes she remembered from years ago. But there was something else now, something tired, broken. Finally, Maya spoke. Why didn't you tell me the truth from the start? About who you really were. About the money. The danger. Aaron didn't answer at first. Then, without taking his eyes off the road, he said, because I didn't want to lose you. And I knew the truth would. Maya looked away, out at the endless stretch of trees. You lost me anyway. They drove for 6 hours, stopping only once to refuel and buy food with cash. Maya kept her head down, hoodie up. Aaron wore a baseball cap pulled low. The world outside looked normal, people pumping gas, kids buying candy, a couple arguing over directions. But inside that truck, it felt like they were fugitives on the edge of a storm. When the GPS lost signal, Aaron pulled out a hand-drawn map and veered onto a narrow, dirt road. This is the last stretch, he said. He lives off the grid. Security's tight. Don't speak unless I ask you to. Who is he, really? Maya asked. My brother. Isaac. I thought you never had siblings. He gave a humorless smile. I never told you about him because we haven't spoken in over 10 years. Why? Because I betrayed him. They finally reached a metal gate surrounded by thick trees and cameras. Aaron leaned out and pressed a button on the speaker box. A voice crackled through, "State your name." "Isaac, it's me." Silence. More silence. "Then, should leave you out there." "I don't blame you," Aaron replied. "But I have something you'll want to see." More silence. Then the gate buzzed open. They drove in slowly, tires crunching gravel. The estate was nothing like Aaron's old mansion. It was more like a fortress, tall fences, surveillance towers, and guards who looked ex-military. But it was surrounded by lush fields and solar panels, hidden away from the world. A tall man stepped out onto the porch. Isaac. He looked older than Aaron, with streaks of gray in his beard, sharp cheekbones, and cold eyes that studied Maya like she was a problem to solve. "You've got 5 minutes," Isaac said. Aaron held out the flash drive. Isaac didn't take it immediately. "You ran the operation, then tried to run from it," Isaac said. "Now you want me to clean it up?" "No," Aaron said. "I want to finish it." Isaac narrowed his eyes. "And the woman?" "She's the reason I'm still alive." Maya felt a twist in her chest. She hadn't expected that. Isaac motioned them inside. The inside of Isaac's home was built like a war room: maps, screens, communication devices, encrypted servers humming softly in a side room. "This is a safe house," he said. "Only 5 people know where it is." He finally took the drive and plugged it into his system. As files opened, images, documents, offshore account logs, his eyes flicked rapidly across the screen. "My God," he muttered. "You weren't exaggerating." "There's more," Aaron said. "I had copies stored in 3 continents. But they found most of them. This is the last one." "I can trace these transactions," Isaac said. "Names. Locations. Even timestamps." Maya stepped forward. "Can we bring this public? Can we stop them?" Isaac gave her a long, unreadable look. "You don't stop an empire," he said. "You either destroy it completely, or you become part of it." For the next 12 hours, they barely slept. Isaac's team cross-referenced data, hacked into encrypted networks, and identified at least 7 high-ranking officials who were tied to the smuggling operation, some from their own country, others from overseas. It was massive. A global web. Drugs. Weapons. Art. Gems. Human trafficking. And the dealership? Just a front. One of many. "What about the red gemstone?" Maya asked. Isaac raised an eyebrow. "That wasn't just a gem. That was a coded key." "A key to what?" "To a vault in Zurich." Aaron looked stunned. "I thought that was a rumor." "It's real," Isaac said. "A physical vault containing ledgers, signed documents, real paper trails. Unhackable. Untouchable. And only someone with that stone can open it." Maya pulled it from her pocket and placed it on the table. Everyone went silent. "That," Isaac said slowly, "is your insurance policy. And your death sentence." They made a plan. Not just to leak the files, but to use the vault to prove everything. Isaac would arrange transport to Switzerland. Quiet, untraceable. But they had to move fast. In less than 48 hours, the operation would know Maya and Aaron were alive, and hunting them back. The next night, Aaron took Maya aside. They stood near the balcony, looking out over the field as wind stirred the trees. "I never wanted this life," he said. "I never wanted lies," she replied. He turned to her. "If we make it through this, I'll disappear. For real this time. But I'll leave you enough to start over. Anywhere you want." "I don't want money," Maya said. "I want peace." Aaron nodded. "Then let's finish what we started." He leaned closer, kissed her forehead gently, and walked away. At 3 a.m., the silence of the estate shattered. Gunfire erupted. Explosions in the woods. Screams. Orders being shouted in the darkness. Maya jolted awake. "Get up!" Isaac yelled, storming into her room with a rifle. She grabbed the gemstone and flash drive. Aaron met her in the hallway. His face was bloody. "They found us." "How?" "No idea. Maybe someone on Isaac's team." The house shook as a grenade exploded outside. "We have to move, now," Isaac shouted. They ran through a hidden tunnel that led under the field. Isaac's voice echoed ahead, "I have a plane waiting 5 miles north. Private airstrip. If we can get there, we're out." Gunshots rang behind them. They kept running. When they reached the strip, the plane was already spinning up. But 5 black vehicles were closing in fast. Maya turned to Aaron. "We'll never make it." Aaron shoved the flash drive into her hand. "Go. I'll hold them off." "No." He kissed her, hard and fast. "Don't waste what we've done." Then he turned and ran back toward the gunfire. Maya screamed after him. But Isaac pulled her onto the plane. As they lifted off, Maya watched the ground fade away, and the fire begin. 1 week later, Zurich, Switzerland. Maya stood in front of a steel vault door beneath a bank older than any she'd ever seen. The gemstone was in her palm. "You ready?" Isaac asked. "No," she whispered. "But let's do it anyway." The gemstone clicked into place. The door opened. Inside were shelves of files, ledgers, photos, everything. Proof that would bring down kings. Isaac stepped inside. "Once we release this, there's no going back." Maya looked at him. "I'm not going back." Zurich's air felt cold and clean. The kind of air that made you breathe deeper, think clearer, remember things you tried to forget. Maya stood at the edge of the lake the morning after they unlocked the vault. The wind carried the scent of pine and snow. But all she could think about was Aaron. Was he alive? Isaac had said nothing since the escape. Only, he did what he had to do. The words echoed in her head like footsteps in a long hallway. But silence followed. No confirmation. No goodbye. Inside the hidden bank vault, documents lay open across polished tables. Ledgers with names, dates, accounts in numbered Swiss banks, details of crimes too big to believe. Human trafficking records. Deals signed in blood. Proof of political and corporate betrayal from across the globe. Isaac's tech team scanned each file, uploading copies to multiple secure locations. "This is nuclear," said one of his analysts. "Once this goes public, governments will fall." Maya stared at a document bearing the dealership's seal, the same place where her humiliation had begun. She traced her finger over her own name in one file, Maya Lawson, flagged. Flagged. It meant they had been watching her long before she even entered that building. She wasn't just some woman married to a rich man. She had been marked. Watched. Used. She felt sick. That night, Isaac gave her a choice. "You don't have to be involved in the release," he said. "You've done more than enough. I'll take care of the rest." Maya shook her head. "No. This started with me. I want to be the one to finish it." He studied her for a long time. Once this goes live, they'll come after you. Again. You understand that? I'm not afraid anymore. Isaac leaned back. Then we release it tomorrow at noon. Every major media outlet. Simultaneously. Noon, the next day. The files went live. News agencies around the world flooded their websites with the leak. Headlines exploded. Global elite exposed in smuggling and human trafficking ring. Swiss vault holds proof of decades-long international corruption. Anonymous woman delivers fatal blow to billionaire crime empire. Within minutes, chaos erupted. World leaders gave emergency statements. High-ranking business officials resigned. Interpol launched new investigations. And Maya Lawson's name trended globally, though no one knew her face. She was the mystery woman behind it all. Some called her brave. Others said she was a ghost. No one knew where she was. And that's how Isaac planned it. You're safe, for now, he told her. But the world's in freefall. 2 days later, they buried someone. It was a small funeral. No press. No questions. A body had been recovered from the estate back in the US, burned beyond recognition. The DNA matched Aaron's. Maya didn't believe it. Not really. She stood over the closed casket, wind biting her cheeks, eyes dry but empty. You saved me, she whispered. I didn't want to be saved without you. Isaac put a hand on her shoulder. He made his choice. No, Maya replied, they forced it. 3 weeks later, Iceland. Maya lived under a new name now. In a small cabin by a frozen fjord, far from everything. She wrote. She read. She barely slept. But every morning, she walked to the mailbox, just in case. One morning, there was an envelope. No return address. Just her new name. Inside was a photo. Aaron. Alive. Standing near a dock in some remote village. He looked older. Tired. But alive. On the back of the photo was a note in familiar handwriting. You were right about everything. I couldn't stay. But I'll always watch from a distance. Thank you for saving me, even when I didn't deserve it. Maya smiled through tears. He had survived. And he had let her go. 6 months later, Geneva. Maya sat on a panel at a secret international summit. Governments were rebuilding systems. Laws had changed. Certain names had disappeared forever. She didn't speak publicly. She only watched. But her presence alone was enough to keep others honest. One politician asked her quietly, would you do it all again? Maya thought for a moment. Yes, she said. Because truth should never be a prisoner. 1 year later, back in the US. The dealership where it all started had been shut down. Torn down, actually. The land now belonged to a shelter for abused women. A gift from an anonymous donor. Maya walked through the new building during its opening. A little girl ran past her, laughing. Free. The director handed Maya a small card. This just arrived for you. No name. Inside, just a short message. Sometimes, the only way out is through fire. You walked through it. You survived it. You lit a path for others. I'll be in touch. Maya folded the note slowly, tucked it into her coat, and looked out across the street. A black Rolls-Royce was parked at the corner. Engine running. Windows tinted. It pulled away before she could approach, but she smiled. Because this time, it wasn't the end. It was the beginning. Maya Lawson was humiliated in a public showroom, dismissed because of her appearance, disrespected for being a nobody. But in truth, she was the one person brave enough to stand against an empire of lies. Her story isn't just about a luxury car or a powerful husband. It's about resilience, courage, and the idea that no matter how small you are in the eyes of the world, the truth you carry can shake the ground beneath giants. The world saw a woman who didn't belong. But Maya proved she did, everywhere.